Mile 8, I was like, you know what? I think I could do this again. I think this is really nice. I can see myself signing up for another one. And then mile 9 hit, and I was like, oh, bitch. Guys, I ran a half marathon, and I want to talk about it because that shit was insane. I realized how many people do half marathons and do these type of events with friends. And it did make me a little bit sad that I don't really have friends in proximity that like to do stuff like this. So I did sign up by myself. But anyways, when I get there, I already knew I wanted cute pictures. So I found a nice girl that was also by herself. And I'm like, can you take my pictures? I didn't like any of them. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't post any of them. I think it's because it was so early in the morning. My face was so puffy. It's fine. It's whatever. I did get some other cute pictures at the end of the race when I was already like super sweaty. I know I had 2 months to train, but if I'm being completely honest with you guys and myself, I know that I didn't train as hard as I could have, because I think the reason that I have as much pain as I do now, because my hip flexors fucking hurt. My ankles hurt really bad. And I think I could have prevented that if I was a little bit more disciplined. And if I didn't let the lazy win as many times as I did during those 2 months that I was training for this half marathon, because I skipped out on a lot of runs that I was supposed to be doing. But regardless, we got it done. I showed up for myself, and I'm so proud that I showed up for myself, because I'm not gonna lie, for a split second I was like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to suffer for 13.1 miles? I'm really just so proud of myself that I really did show up. I will say that I maintained a 10:30 pace for 10 miles. Like, bitch, that is so crazy to me. And I'm gonna keep using the word crazy because I don't think you understand. Like, I went into boot camp, okay? Back in 2018, I was very out of shape, very inexperienced to running. And boot camp, bitch, you run a lot. And the whole point is to try to pass your PRT, because if you don't pass it, you don't pass boot camp, which is trying to run a mile and a half in under 14:45. You get to do that run as soon as you get to boot camp, like one of the very first few days, to see where you're at, and then you do it again, which it actually counts whether you pass boot camp or not. But during that first run, I remember doing it, and I got an 18:19. Like, it was insane at how bad my stamina was, at how slow I was. And even to the end, I barely passed that PRT. That mile and a half, I did it in 14:43. I passed by 2 seconds. And that 18-year-old self would never believe that I signed up for a 13.1 mile race just to prove something to myself. I think the mind is such a powerful tool. And I always say this because during the run, I wasn't even anticipating the end. I was just so focused on the present moment, of enjoying the present moment. And I prayed a lot. I prayed to Jesus. I asked for the strength to complete this half marathon, and bitch, did I receive it. The wildest part to me is that the longest I had ever ran, like in my training sessions, was 6 miles. 6 miles. I was supposed to run 8, but I skipped out on them. So my ojitos couldn't believe it when I would look down and it said 10 miles. Like at 10:30 pace. After that, I did start to feel the pain of my hip flexors, my ankles, my shins. Like, my shoulders, my chest. Like, bitch, I was in so much pain. Even my core. I ran for 2.5 hours straight. That even sounds crazy saying that out loud. I remember that last half mile of the half marathon, I was struggling. Like, I was struggling, and I was running, and I would stop, and I would run a little, and I would stop, and I would like walk, obviously. And there was a facilitator that was like, are you really gonna walk the last half mile? And I was like, is there really only half a mile left? He's like, you better get to running. So I ran. I pushed through, and I ran that last half mile. And it's so funny because during those moments of extreme pain, I just had thoughts of like, what are you gonna do? Turn around? What are you gonna do? Stop? Like, bitch, we're finishing this. But I remember crossing that finish line, and I had this overwhelming feeling of self-love. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but I was insanely proud of myself, and I cried. Like, I felt so emotional after I crossed that finish line, because I showed up for myself. I proved something to myself, even when I didn't want to, even when it got hard. And not only did I show up for myself, I pushed myself. Like, I didn't just show up and try to just run a 12-minute pace knowing I could do a little faster. Like, I kept a good pace, so much so that when I finished and I was in line to get water at the end, a girl came up to me and she told me that she was using me as a pacer and that I was a really good pacer, and that I was like, oh my goodness, what? That's me? That's so crazy. Mile 8, I was like, you know what? I think I could do this again. I think this is really nice. I can see myself signing up for another one. And then mile 9 hit, and I was like, oh bitch, fuck, no, we ain't never doing this again. I think now I just gotta focus on recovery and like stretching and stuff like that, because bitch, I'm in pain. Like, I hurt, especially when I'm sitting down and I don't do anything. My body feels like it got hit by a truck. Like, it's worse than when I go snowboarding. But it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm also the biggest procrastinator, because not only did I complete a half marathon in the early morning, I had a 6-page paper due that same night that I hadn't even started on until that day. Never again. But the amount of relief that I feel, bitch, I'm in the clouds. Like, not only did I finish my semester, but I also finished the half marathon that I was dreading. I feel good. I feel really good. And now I have a month off before my next semester starts. And I really, really, really want to focus on not feeling guilty for having a break. I feel guilt when I'm not productive, and I know that can't be happening. I think everybody needs to run at least a half marathon once in their life. Like, it really does do something to you. Because now I have a level of trust within myself that I can do anything, bitch. I can do anything. And I only feel this way because I pushed through that. I really did. And I know to some it might not be much. 13.1 miles, it's not a marathon, it's half a marathon. But it's still very, very challenging. And the fact that I persevered through that, you can't tell me nothing. Bitch, I get a pat on the back. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Till next time, bye.